I don't know. I don't know.
We have a
But
friend named Kareem, who
Uh,
basically his pop culture appetite is like a 15-year-old girl.
yes, well, he loves superheroes, and
Right.
so everything. Most superheroes are on the CW.
Yeah, but
CW's got everything.
he watches
You know,
Vampire Diaries.
Oh no, I don't watch that shit.
Yeah,
Super
he watches that thing on ABC Family, Shadowhunters, or whatever the hell it is.
Oh,
Oh,
I
God.
tried and I bailed after like 3 episodes because it was the same shit over and over again.
Yeah.
yeah, I know.
I did want to try that show because the girls on that show looked amazingly hot.
I know. But again,
Well, that's
3
how
episodes
they
and I
get
bailed.
you, but it's very very dumb. It's like everybody's weapon is basically a glow stick in some different shape. It's either shaped like a sai or a dagger or a bat, but it's like all the weapons are all neon and everybody looks like they're going to a rave.
Yeah.
And every episode is the same shit. It's just rinse and repeat. So yeah, you won't get me there. And I couldn't watch that Riverdale shit either. I tried twice.
See, I liked it.
Oh, I have to watch it.
I liked it. I gotta admit, I liked it.
I have to watch it just to torture my oldest sisters. Who
I
love
mean,
to watch
they're
it.
taking it from the rebooted Mark Waid series from the
Is that
last
what
few.
Is that what Mark Waid's doing in that book?
Yeah, well, no, not like Dark, but he made the characters more realistic in his comic. It wasn't the Archie that we all grew up with. But
See, that's what I have in
There
my head.
hasn't been a realistic on a teenager on the CW since Buffy.
Oh, and I just got back into Buffy on Netflix. I was addicted.
Don't do it, man. Don't do it for you. The heartbreak awaits.
Oh, There's certain episodes that I know to skip because then I'll just be crying, and I was like, I'm not gonna do that to myself again.
You know the episode "The Body," right?
That's the one.
Right? Yeah.
That's the one.
The thing is, you can't even show that to somebody. Say, this is how good this show is, because a lot of the stuff that goes on in that thing, you have to know the characters to see how much pain it is. Except for Sarah Michelle Gellar, because she was amazing on that show.
Yeah, that's an episode that only works because it came they put it at the right moment.
Though TV viewers have said that is one of the best episodes of television ever.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
they said that was the most realistic portrayal of grief they've ever seen on TV.
That's why I can't watch it. It's too close. The thing is, TV has I mean, of course, that was in the 90s, but TV is so much better now than anything in the theaters. Like, the only stuff I go to see in the theaters is like Marvel movies.
Well, that's what I said to Gary. I was like, well, what's going to look better on my TV? Like, if I was like this in the, Blazing Saddles would look just as good on my TV as it would in a big movie theater. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But, The Matrix is only going to look good on the big screen kind of thing.
Spielberg
Matrix looked good
predicted
because of the story. But the thing is, I think a lot of writers are now tired of the 2-hour format that movies give them, following, the certain standards of how to set up a movie. 10 minutes, you got to introduce everybody, blah, blah, blah.
Right.
Get on with the second act is this, third act is this. While TV now gives you that unlimited 13 to 22 hours to flesh out characters, to flesh out the storyline, which I think most writers, if you're going to write a story, you want as much time as you need.
What's his name? Max Landis was saying the same thing, yeah.
Oh, okay. I mean, I'm not the biggest Max Landis fan, but he's absolutely right. I mean, look at movies nowadays, the last few years. I mean, you can even say it's the Marvel way, where every third act has to be the big explosion.
Right.
The second act has to be a fight where the hero is at his lowest point, and then the third act is the hero rebounding with lots of explosions and lots of action. And I think that because it caters more to the foreign market than something like Breaking Bad, which is more of a character study,
right? Yeah,
where you thought this schlub of a guy who was shitted on his whole life really turns out to be he really enjoys being a scumbag once he gets that taste of it,
right?
Which you can't translate that into for Asian markets, I don't think, or foreign markets. So I think that's why writers are gravitating more towards TV for that fleshing out of the character and more character study than a movie can nowadays.
Yeah, well, Breaking Bad is also a slow burn, so there's no way that would work in a movie because you wouldn't have enough time to
Yes.
get into Walter White's life.
Yes, in 2
Start
hours.
to.
Yeah.
It's like the thing is that that's like almost like a decompressed version of the Falling Down with Michael Douglas.
Which I really
Oh,
liked. I
right,
remember
yes,
seeing that. I
yes.
like that. Yeah.
You know, because you start out on his side, and then by the end, you're like, oh shit, this guy's a psycho. Like, when the hell did this
Yeah.
happen?
Right.
Right. There are gifted writers that could do that within the 2 hour or whatever time
That's
frame.
what I
but
felt about Watchmen. It was just in the wrong format.
It needed to be a series.
Yeah.
But there was too much. I mean, there's too much to. I mean, these 12 issues. There's so many subplots, and they're going to try and smash that into what? What was it? 2.5 hours? 2 hours and 45 minutes or some shit?
And it wasn't really like a lot of it could be, but the Rorschach part couldn't be. Rorschach's art could not be put in that.
no, and yet that's the type of story that you couldn't even make it a movie trilogy.
Right.
So they had to condense it into one movie.
Right.
And personally, I liked it. I thought they did the best they can do with their 2.5 hour time limit.
Right.
Would
No,
I,
I
like to
enjoyed
see
it
it
too.
on
I
HBO?
enjoyed it.
Yeah, of
No,
course.
Zack Snyder can't make a fucking movie. Sorry.
You didn't like it, Pat?
No, I like the opening credits with the these things the chimes are changing.
Yes.
He nailed some of the Rorschach scenes, but like I said with Batman versus Superman, he lifted them right out of the comic and did them as is. He didn't put any stamp on it. And the rest of it was awful. He cast a horrible actress to be what's her name because we wanted to get her naked in this thing. I thought the guy that made the cast as a comedian wasn't that great. I thought what's his name, Ozymandias was terrible. I thought Billy Crudup did nothing with the role. I didn't think it was good. I would give it a C. It's an average.
You mentioned Batman and Superman, and you know that the latest news is Affleck officially stepped down as director.
Oh, I know.
Batman. And now fans, with all the flack that Zack Snyder gets, they're actually crying out for Zack Snyder to take up the directing role for the next Batman movie.
Oh my God!
Why? What did they see that said?
I have
They're
no
ready to
idea.
lynch him after Batman vs Superman.
Exactly. You can't. The fans don't. I mean, half the time they have no fucking idea what they're talking about. They all go anyway. It's like, oh, this guy sucks, and then they're the first ones in line.
I am too. When I was listening to podcasts last week, I was like, yeah, I'm going too. I'm going. Like I said,
we're going to see all of it. I mean, it's almost like. I mean, I used to bitch about them years and years ago too, but then it was like, well, I'm going anyway, so why complain?
I mean, I don't have to like every movie I see. I'm not
Exactly
obligated to that.
Exactly. I always feel like though fandom. All right, we're calling ourselves the elder nerds. I'm an old guy, but I remember even being young, I didn't like everything that pop culture threw at me. But it seems like I meet people a few years younger than me. Some of my friends are a few years younger than me. They seem like they love everything they grew up with and everything that's thrown at them nowadays. When, yes, it's all subjective, but there is crap out there. There is crap.
Right.
Sturgeon's law says 90% of everything is crap. Which I think kind of the basis of this podcast is. It's like we're going to be discussing that. But I mean, I know people that they love the X-Men cartoon from the 90s.
Everybody likes that.
They love all the Star Wars prequels. They love, stuff that I just, even when I was 10 years old, Logan's Run came out. I remember that was like the big movie before Star Wars, a year before Star Wars. Even as 10 years old, I knew it was crap. I didn't think much of it. I thought it was but it's like 10 years old nowadays will love anything you throw at them. Like, I never hear a dissenting word about anything in fandom.
Not really, because they ignore a lot of stuff.
Oh, really? I think that they're more into more stuff than we were at our age because of technology.
They're not watching TV. They're not watching it from 8 to 11 o'clock.
No, but they're watching
Netflix.
They're watching everything, but they're watching it at their own time. I think they're watching it on their phones. They're watching it on the bus. They're watching it on the subway. They're not in front of the TV, but I think they're still consuming pop culture, but they're doing it differently than we did.
Absolutely.
Well, they're watching.
But I'm saying it's like they seem to accept everything that's thrown at them. Like, other than Iron Man 3, which a couple of friends of mine, well, a couple of people I know, Kareem, one of them, didn't like because of what they did to the Mandarin. But it's like, because they didn't give you the Mandarin that was in the Iron Man comic for 50 years. Well, I thought Iron Man 3 was absolutely brilliant because it was a Tony Stark film. It wasn't an Iron Man film, and I like what they did, how they did that. But meanwhile, I know, like I said, but I know people that they love the Star Wars prequels. They love anything Star Wars related. You could throw crap at them and they'll love it.
Anybody loves the Star Wars prequels. I'm sorry.
What?
Me neither.
I don't know anybody who
No,
loves
me
the
neither.
Star
But I'm
Wars
saying I know a
prequels.
large population that will just accept it because it's Star Wars. That they'll love it.
I agree with that, but they bitched about it constantly.
We liked the idea of
Yes.
it when it first came out, and then after we saw it, I remember when we stood in line at the Ziegfeld to see the Phantom Menace, and we were super excited because
I saw Star Wars at the Ziegfeld when I was a kid.
yeah, it was the first.
That's how old I am, everybody.
Exactly. Same here.
It was the first new Star Wars in years. We were super hyped. It was a big event. People were in costume, and the media was all around. It was a whole big thing. We sat there, watched the movie in awed silence. And then at the end, you had to kind of shake off the magic dust and go, that was kind of shitty, except for that ending at the battle at the end with Darth Maul was off the hook.
Yeah.
But the next day, when the hype wore off, you were like, that was really bad.
Oh, by
Exactly.
the way,
And it was hard to accept because you're like, well, Star Wars is awesome, right? So I couldn't have just watched a bad Star Wars movie, but
you did. Yes, you had to realize.
did.
You had to realize that. Yeah, I remember when I saw it too, man. The theater was dead silent when the credits came up.
Yeah.
Like, it was
You
just
could
like, holy
you
crap.
could hear a pin. You could hear a pin. I mean, nobody dared utter a word throughout the entire movie. You cheered at the right moments, or you laughed at the right moments. And again, the Darth Maul scene was the crown of that entire movie. And then when you go back and you sit through it, or when you get it on video, you just go right to that scene.
Well, geez, I haven't even seen it since that first time in the theater. I was so disappointed in it. I couldn't even watch it
Pete,
again. But
Pete, let me ask you a question, Pete.
Yeah.
When you saw Darth Maul, did you think of the 5 deadly venom masks?
When you say it now, when you say it now, it should be obvious. But I think, to be honest, I was so caught up in the movie that I wasn't thinking of anything except what I was looking at.
When I first saw Darth Maul, I was like, I wonder if these guys are doing an homage to the 5 deadly venoms.
And that was one of my favorite martial arts movies growing up.
Still one of my favorite ones. You watched it on Saturday afternoon, 3 o'clock?
Of course, the drive-in movie, Channel 5.
Yep.
That was when before Fox was Fox, and it was just a network you tuned into to watch reruns.
NEW, New York.
By the way,
Yeah.
were you shocked when Netflix got all those movies?
Yeah, I was thrilled. I stood up half the night watching all these old cheesy ass martial arts movies. That now they look like dance videos. Like the choreography is so obvious to me now, and they look like music videos.
I still love it though. I just want to see those guys flipping around going nuts.
No, they're great. They're great, but I love the newer stuff too. I mean, it's like the improvements they've made in Asian action films are amazing.
Yeah. By the way, I know a few people that worked on Iron Fist, and they were raving about his stunt double. And I looked him up on YouTube. The guy is freaking amazing.
What's his name? Do you know?
Oh man, I keep forgetting it. He took down. He had a video up of like a spotlight video of him, and it was there like I don't know. It's been up there for like 2005. I don't know how long. It's been up there a long time. It had like 200 hits, total. And he recently took that down. I don't know why. God, did I send you that video?
No, I don't remember that.
Yeah. Okay. So, and then but he's got some. There's these sort of stunt competitions. Sort of came out of the martial arts tournaments, right? And it's like martial artists who are both acrobatic and doing stuff. Whatever, guy. Go say what you're going to say. I'll look it up on IMDb.
No, I wasn't going to say anything. Just you guys are waxing nostalgic. But what I was saying is that there just seems to be more of an acceptance in fandom to accept everything that's thrown at you. Like, you don't see a lot of, like what we're doing. We're critical of some things. I don't see a lot of criticism.
Really? You don't go online much because people bitch about everything.
Oh, I mean, but people will bitch about stuff. I think people bitch more about people criticizing what they love than actually criticizing
Marvel's,
funny is
the
it's,
thing
it's like
everybody's jumping on the Marvel is dead bandwagon.
well, it's like the snake eating its own tail, right? People are bitching about people bitching who are bitching about the pictures.
But it's not like, you don't, if you say something bad about The Force Awakens, which I thought was a mediocre movie. I thought it was
I
okay.
enjoyed it.
I
Oh,
didn't,
no,
I didn't,
Pat, you hated it.
to me, mediocre means it's meh, and I thought I was bored by it.
I went with Gary. He didn't like it at all.
Yeah, see, and
Yeah,
but
I had a
meanwhile,
ball. I had a ball because it was like it was a mix of old and new, which is what it needed to be, in order to make any sense.
I don't believe that. I really, honestly, don't believe that. Like you heard people saying, "Well, Disney had to do this to get the audience because it was like Disney was doing it. And it had to be a soft reboot." The fucking Star Wars has goddamn 40 years of branding behind it. It's not like you're rolling out a new product. You're rolling out a franchise that's 40 years old. That's been known around the world for 40 years. You didn't have to play it safe with the new movie. That's why I don't believe that.
Well, they played it safe. They had to. Well, I mean, we're speculating, but they probably had to play it safe because there's hundreds of millions of dollars invested in it, and they wanted to make sure that they made it back.
No, that's bullshit. See, I think that's bullshit. That is a brand. That is an established brand that brings in money no matter what. Star Wars brought in money for the 16 years between Return of the Jedi and The Phantom Menace due to books, toys, comic books. I mean, you're talking about a 40-year-old brand that's been around forever worldwide. You didn't need to play it safe with that movie, but did.
Wait, before Force Awakens, the last Star Wars movie was what was it? The last of the prequels, Revenge of the Sith,
which was what, 2003, 2004.
Right, which nobody was really. I mean, nobody was thrilled with those
liked
prequels.
That trilogy.
See,
nobody liked that.
But everybody thought that third one was the best.
The trilogy built up more and more bad blood against them.
Right, so they
against
had
Lucas.
They had
I think it brought bad blood against Lucas, not against the brand.
Well, no, I feel like
movie-wise, they needed a hit.
I feel like they needed. I agree with that.
I don't believe that.
They needed a hit, and they
but look, even in between years, you had cartoons, you had books, you had you had toys. It was still around. That's why I think it's such a mediocre movie, because I didn't think they had to play it safe. I think that was just Force Awakens was just a corporate
paid $1 billion for LucasArts.
Oh, they were going to make it
not
back.
to do, not to do shitty box office.
Yeah, they paid
no.
Come on. They paid $4.5 billion.
Come on, does any blockbuster fail really nowadays with overseas sales? I mean, geez, look at that piece of crap Pacific Rim we went to see, Patrick. That movie still made $100 million domestically and did gangbusters overseas.
Rim, Gary, because you hate intimacy.
Gary,
what the hell are you talking about?
Gary hates love.
No, I love love.
He loves love, but he doesn't love.
I hate mediocrity. Mediocrity has become the new high bar in this country. From anything from music to movies to books, it has been. It really has the last few years.
You just said 95% of stuff is going to be shit.
90% of stuff is shit. That's Sturgeon's law.
So it's always been mediocrity.
No, it hasn't. No.
Like you've only seen the best movie in 1940. From 1940, you've only seen the best movie. You didn't see the other 90 films that came out that were shit.
Yeah, I think that's bullshit. I think you had Channel 9, you had Channel 5, you had Turner Classic Movies, you had AMC when they were showing old movies. You could get a wide variety of stuff and make a judgment call on that. Yeah, I'm just saying a brand that's 40 years old, like Star Wars, they copped out by making it a mediocre movie, and that's why I didn't like it. Just like I don't like the title, the Last Jedi. That's lazy writing. That's a corporate think tank to come up with the safest, blandest title for that.
You don't even know what the movie's about.
But you could have called it something else. You didn't have to call it The Last.
Okay,
lazy
right then and
writing.
there, everybody accepts it. That title came out. Reddit was bitching about it. Bleeding Cool was bitching about it. They hated that title.
Really, on Facebook, man, Pete, it looked like everybody loved that friggin' title except me. I thought it was me and Jan Strand.
I hope they all ganged up on you.
I have no idea. They did. Gary got shit on all over Facebook because he hated the title.
know,
And that's the
I'll
reason
never
for this
go on Facebook,
podcast.
but it's like Facebook. Gary's always telling me, "Oh,
Well,
I
listen,
said this," and they just
somebody did something interesting online, and they put the title cards together from The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi so that it reads as one sentence.
I saw that.
And I'm wondering if that's intentional or
No.
just a
Yeah,
clever
I
or
saw
just a
that.
No,
coincidence.
Disney is not that clever. Disney is not that clever. That's a fanboy trying to show the world how smart he is.
Disney's got to be pretty clever if they're making more money than everybody on the planet.
Well,
Within
they also have 75 years of business acumen behind them.
Listen, they own everything we love.
Just about, and that's
The only
smart
thing
business.
they don't own is air,
But you're
and
gonna,
that's
you're gonna
next.
tell me that Disney actually
Beauty and
thinks
the
they're
Beast,
gonna
Emma
have
Watson, day one, Gary.
they're going to have 3 interconnecting titles? That is bullshit. Disney executives aren't that creative.
Oh, by the way,
Because they're going
I
to have
don't
3
think that's
different
true.
directors. No. They're going to have 3 different directors for 3 different movies. There's no way those titles are interconnected. That's a fanboy trying to show how smart he is to the world. It's like before we went to go see Batman versus Superman, how many fan theories online were people saying, Batman is really, Bruce Wayne is really dead. That's really the Joker as Batman. And it's like people were coming up with these really theories that were like so convoluted. It's like, no, Warner Brother executives aren't that smart. They're going to give you the most basic standard script for their IP. They're going to give you Bruce Wayne as Batman. They're going to give you Clark Kent as Superman. They're never going to change it up. They're never going to give you Batman was really Nightwing or Robin or Dick Grayson. They're never going to do that. They're not that creative. They want to get out the most blandest product to make the most money without offending people. And
Well,
there's
you
no
could
way.
say a lot of things about Batman versus Superman, but sort of bland wasn't in there.
No.
Bad.
No, it was bland. It was boring. As a movie, it was boring. They gave you what the fans wanted. They wanted to see. You had to wait an hour to see Superman versus Batman in the fight. That whole movie was just nothing but setup for a 10-minute fight.
Yeah,
But they gave you Lex. They gave you Lex Luthor Jr., which is in the comics, which is canon. They gave you Clark Kent. They weren't going to change Batman's identity for this film. They weren't
Of course
going to
not. You're gonna take the 2 biggest superheroes.
But that's all you see on the internet,
Change them?
especially
No.
Facebook. You see all these fan theories, and that Star Wars fan theory about the 3 interconnected titles is
Batman
bullshit.
was chasing that thing, and he was fucking leveling people left and right, killing them.
Right, but what I'm saying is all these
What
fan
Warner
theories
Brothers-
that come out, they're trying to make it like all these studio executives are like the most brilliant creative geniuses, and they're not. The only thing they know how to do is push product to make money. That's it.
Well-
They're not going to give you an interconnecting 3-movie title. They're not going to give you a big twist that, Rey is Luke's daughter or whatever, or maybe they will. That's all fan service. But you know
Well,
what
I
I'm
think
saying?
it's-
They're not going to give you anything creative to knock your socks off in this movie.
I think it's obvious from that rant that Gary was raped by a studio executive, and he's a little bitter.
It was all the drugs of the studio.
It was the 70s.
70s, a lot of coke.
Yeah, right. We were watching the Stones. I was feeling kind of nice.
Yes, exactly.
The
So
Pepsi Lounge ones that
personally, I hate all
sold out.
these fan theories. I hate all these fan theories that I see
yeah.
online.
I don't even read them. Why do you even read them? I don't. pay attention to any
They're
of it.
just headlines. You see, you scroll through your Facebook timeline and you see this fan theory has is
Oh,
saying this,
I never read those articles.
and I
dude.
just
skip
go right
past
by
them.
it. But
Yeah, I
you
skip
see other
right past
people
them.
talking about it. You have your friends talk about it on their podcast. You hear all
Yeah.
these stupid fan theories,
I
and it's
ignore it.
ridiculous.
I
It's
ignore it.
ridiculous.
I don't listen to any of that shit. I mean,
Yeah, I don't listen to
the thing about Batman being I never even heard any of that shit until right now. What I remember about that movie was it was interesting that it was originally Superman versus Batman. And then when Affleck got signed to play Batman, the buzz got so hot, all of a sudden they switched the title around. And then Warner and DC started calling for more Batman scenes when originally he had far less screen time in the original version because, the whole thing was they were trying to play catch up with Marvel, and that's all DC's been trying to
Oh,
do
of course.
from the beginning. They are desperately trying to cram a shared universe together where Marvel
Very
had
quick.
laid that shit out. And the thing you said about executives not planning ahead, Kevin Feige planned the whole Marvel universe out years before. Like, all this thing has been a plan they've been building since about 2008, and it all hinged on the success of Iron Man. So it is possible
Right.
for somebody
Yes.
who's a studio head to have a master plan. That's why Marvel's
I think they
been so
had a
successful.
master plan for the movies, but I don't think they have a master plan as far as storytelling. You know, and let's face it, Marvel really didn't have a master plan until the success of Iron Man. Nothing
Well,
before.
no,
They didn't plan it out
they
beforehand.
had Feige had the plan, but Iron Man had to work in order for them to get the backup from the studios to execute it with the follow-up movies. Like if Iron Man tanked, we wouldn't be looking forward to Infinity Gauntlet. We would be nowhere right now with that shit.
Probably
See,
not.
I think if Iron Man tanked, we still would have gotten superhero movies, but I don't think we would have gotten an interconnected universe.
No, we wouldn't. Nobody would have done it. They would have done their own little standalones, and they would have said,
Exactly.
"Oh, I can do
Might
it
have
better
gotten
than that
Batman
guy."
versus Superman, but different.
Probably.
Right.
You know what's
But
weird is
man,
that
man, you guys got to go out and meet more people and fandom, man. I mean, you know, I had my store.
Actually,
I'm not on
I don't
social
think
media,
you
so I
Patrick
don't-
knows I have my store every Tuesday night. I meet up with friends at the bar and we talk shit like this. And all you hear is like all these other fan theory things or like these other podcasts I listen to, and it's like just shut the fuck up. That's why I like Red Letter Media. So is my favorite podcasters because they see through all the bullshit, all the fan service. And
I
they call it
actually
like
don't
it
think
is.
going out and meeting other fans would be a good idea because it's made you into an angry, bitter old man. And
Damn right.
I don't want to
cannot
go to there.
who stopped feeling joy after
I know.
his junior year in Severian when they were
Yeah.
when the brothers were doing their thing.
I'm picturing the Grinch's heart,
Brothers
that
were
little
getting
lump of coal. Remember the anime for the Grinch That Stole Christmas?
Yes.
His heart was this tiny little black thing
No.
inside.
They're
of him.
redoing that. They're redoing that, by the way.
The
Again?
animation or live action?
The Grinch.
Again? They
I think
did
it's
it-
anime because what's his name is
they
what's
did
his
it
name
in
doing the voice.
2000.
Sherlock
No.
is doing the voice.
But the thing is, I don't accept crap. I'm tired of crap, and that's what a lot of that's what a lot of fan theories are. They're crap.
Oh, that's what I wanted to say before we get on the tangent. Do you know who publishes Mickey Mouse comics?
Who?
IDW, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Disney owns Marvel. Why?
No, isn't IDW only publishing the European Disney
I
comics?
I don't know. Every week, I look on Midtown Comics to see what's coming out and what I'm going to buy, and I'm like, wait a second, did I just see Mickey Mouse? Go
Yeah,
back.
because in December they published, or in Halloween they published an Italian Mickey Mouse story that's supposedly very good but very bizarre. So that's what got me wondering, like, maybe they're only publishing European stuff that, that's why Marvel doesn't publish Disney books. Maybe the IDW has the European license.
Yeah, it's probably that's what I said. It's probably licensing and all, but I thought Disney was sort of getting everything under one roof, so to speak.
Yeah, that's true.
Another thing about movie podcasts, that one Midnight Sun or Midnight something or other, Midnight, they're pretty good on.
I know what you're talking about. I listen to them all. I think it's isn't it Midnight's Edge or something along those lines?
Midnight Edge, and they don't go into speculation. I guess they do speculate, but it's all like, okay, we know this guy is this
Right.
guy, and he works here, and he's connected to this guy this way, and
Yeah, they
kind
gather they gather their data from like Hollywood Reporter, Variety,
Yeah.
a lot of the stuff that came out during the Sony hacks, and they put together these video testimonials that where you get the as far as they can tell, you get as much facts as possible regarding
Right.
the
Right.
latest geek movies.
See, I'd rather get it from something legit like Hollywood Reporter or Variety
Right.
than from some fanboy in his fucking basement watching the Star Wars trilogy 700 times, piecing clues together.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that's kind of what they do. But what about Bleeding Cool? You think Bleeding Cool's a decent source?
I think Bleeding Cool is decent. I think comicbook.com is a site that I could use if they didn't have so many fucking ads. And if you try and read an article, it takes twice as long because you have to wait for all the pop-up ads to finish loading.
Is that on your phone or on your home computer?
On the phone, forget about it. I can never fuck with comicbook.com articles on my phone. I have to look at them on the PC. And even then, the screen is constantly it jumps for like a minute or two because ads are constantly filling in.
But don't you have all the those
The pop-up blockers? Oh, yeah.
ad
I
blocker
do.
and all that other stuff?
Yeah.
I used to go to CBR all the time. I can't even go there anymore. Because
Yeah, CBR really, and Newsarama too, they both really fell
Oh, Newsarama I thought was always clickbait. When you put
really, I thought
an article on 3 different pages and you put like your list of, they always had and you have to click through 20 things. Yeah, I can't stand that.
See, I think that's the last few years. I used to like Newsarama before the Marvel movie explosion. I thought Newsarama was pretty good.
I know exactly what Patrick's talking about. It's like, here's the top 20 greatest superheroes of all time, and you have to go through 20 pages.
Yeah, that shit sucks.
23, because they put ads in between.
Right.
Yeah. Tell you the truth, I don't even go to those sites anymore. I get all my news on, I'm sorry to say, Facebook or Instagram or Twitter.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, Facebook and Twitter. Oh, Instagram, I don't get any news. I get a lot of articles from Facebook and Twitter, especially when something major goes down, like if it's a disaster or a terror attack or some shit like that, then I go to Twitter because people are posting links, people are posting articles or updates as soon as they happen.
Right. But yeah, I agree with both. I mean, I thought CBR and Newsarama are just crap now. Bleeding Cool,
CBR
I go to once in a while.
What's the name took over? Like, what the hell's that thing? Hulk Hogan sued them. What was that site? Gawker.
Oh, shit.
Gawker. BuzzFeed. Yeah, Gawker. Like BuzzFeed. It looked like BuzzFeed turnover. Those all clickbait articles.
Yeah. Bleeding Cool is all right. Even though he doesn't, I see a lot of professionals and people on Facebook. Bleeding Cool does not have a good rep.
Well, the problem with the news sites is, first of all, there's not enough news to make all those sites' existences worthwhile, and people, the same thing with regular world news or local news. It's like they're trying to fill that 24-hour cycle, so they're making articles out of nothing. It's like, oh, we spoke to the neighbor of the guy who shot up the club when she saw him walking into a store.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean?
Well, so and so's family was all killed in a massacre. Let's go to ask them how they feel. What the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
And they'll spend more time.
Terrible.
They'll spend more time on a celebrity puff piece than on the tension growing between the U.S. and Iraq or the U.S. and China since that fucking Orange Gorgon got accidentally elected into the office.
Also, you know what you think with this, especially with the movies, they put up like, oh, the new font or whatever the hell they call it for Avengers Infinity Gauntlet 2. Why?
Oh my God!
My world has changed. Thank you for providing that for me.
Yes, it's an article. Tomorrow we're going to show you the new logo for the upcoming Black Panther movie. Oh fuck! I better set my clock.
Yes. That is.
But I mean, like you said, these sites they're almost obligated to put it up.
Yeah, and when they do trailers, announcing trailers, that's really just
that is ridiculous.
Teaser for a trailer, what?
That is ridiculous.
Yeah.
That I don't understand.
They make a trailer to announce the world premiere of the trailer.
Yeah.
I was watching an old trailer. You know how people say this trailers show too much these days?
Yeah.
I was watching. I'm going through I just had a hankering from Westerns. I'm going through Westerns, so I was looking at the trailer for Hondo, the John Wayne movie, and it basically told you the whole fucking movie.
Yeah, those trailers were like 2, 3 minutes, 5 minutes.
No, they weren't that long, but they would the over guy would say, "Here's Gary Esposito, who can't feel joy any part of his life. He hates balloons."
This man's heart is dead, and here is why. Come see the movie.
Because I'm hanging out with you guys. That's why my heart is black.
No, we find joy in life. You are just a dead soul.
But if you get a chance, go look at some trailers from like the 50s and the 40s.
He's right though. That was before they.
But did you ever see the original Star Wars trailer from the 70s? That thing's like 2.5 minutes, and it's like, holy shit.
I don't remember that at all. You know how I got into Star Wars in the 70s? I bought the Marvel comic, #1.
I got into it because my aunt took me to see it.
Yeah.
And I went to see back then when movies were affordable, before they cost, like before you had to go with a checkbook to get into the fucking movie theater, we went and saw everything. It didn't matter what it was. You saw every piece of shit that got put out because the movie cost $2.50, $3.50. Even when it went to $5, you still went because you can go for like 2 for $5.
Do you know our buddy Kareem? He goes to see every piece of shit movie too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not now. I wouldn't go now. That's what is it, $13 to $15 a pop? Some places.
Exactly.
I like Gary. The superhero movies. I like going to IMAX. The IMAX 68th Street and Broadway in Manhattan.
Yeah.
I want to see it. Like I saw all the Lord of the Rings movies there. I saw, of course, I saw Avatar. By the way, I have no desire to see the next one. I saw a lot of the superhero movies there.
Yeah, we saw Winter Soldier there.
Speaking of Avatar, what do you guys? I'm actually psyched for James Cameron deciding to reboot Terminator.
No. Why?
Because James Cameron's going to do it, and he's got Tim Miller from Deadpool to direct it.
Big whoop. Why reboot it? Why not just do something original?
Maybe he has some new ideas that he couldn't do at the time because of technological limitations or budget limitation. And if it's going to be rebooted, better by the guy that created the shit than some other dude, than some other.
I don't really mind that. Good stories should be retold.
No,
but
see, I don't believe that at all. Good stories should be passed down from generation to generation.
Yeah,
if James Cameron is creative, if James Cameron is creative, he should use those ideas and put them in a new story.
Look how many silent movies were remade into talkies.
Oh well, that's now you're talking two totally different medium. Of course, I could see because I could see silent movies being remade into talkies because especially in the beginning. When it was all silent movies, a lot of stars, a lot of Hollywood stars disappeared because of talkies, and you wanted to. That I can actually see because
the ones that disappeared because
of new technology
did so because they sucked at acting.
No, well, a lot of them were good, but no, they had the new technology. It was for a wider audience now with talkies. Some people may not have liked silent movies. That is okay. No, someone like James Cameron, who is working on the next Avatar movies, which. I'm kind of interested in the next Avatar movie only because James Cameron pushes technology.
The guy's an innovator. He takes
yes, exactly. He's an innovator, so that's why I want to go see it to see what he innovates for the next generation of movies.
I went to see Avatar in that movie, the 3D IMAX, and it was packed. It was seating.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I was sitting there going, "Oh my god!" Like waving the hands in front of my face. That's how good the technology was.
Yeah.
But as for the movie, I said I like that better when it was the first time I saw it when it was Dancing with the Wolves. Exactly. Yeah. I feel like there's really no reason to do another one. I mean, I can see them
exactly,
movies, but I don't need.
But I'm looking forward to what he does technological wise with filmmaking, like he did with Avatar, his next phase, than I am about him going back and telling the same story again.
People say there's nothing original in Hollywood, and especially for us. I feel that a lot of science fiction movies have come out in the past 10 years, original science fiction movies that just did not do well at the box office. We didn't go out.
Like what?
Prometheus didn't do as well as they wanted.
Well, that's because of the story.
The Matt Dillon one. The Matt Dillon one. What was that one called? Matt Dillon. Remember he's trying to get to the Cloud City?
Elysium. That I actually liked. I saw that at home on
Did you say Matt Dillon is Matt Damon? You mean
Matt Damon?
Sorry.
Right.
I like that movie. We're showing our age. But I liked.
What's his name again? The guy with the face and the hair. What's he called?
The young punk. Yeah, and even a movie like Tom Cruise's Edge of Tomorrow.
I think that did well because it's getting a second one.
That was a fun movie.
But no, that kind of bomb. People are expecting that to be a huge hit.
Yeah, but I think it did well aftermarket because it's getting a sequel. And I'm like, why?
That was fantastic. That was fantastic.
That
should have been $1 billion movie.
That was a fun movie. He was a video game character.
Yeah, but I mean, even though I thought there were good performances, people bash on Tom Cruise.
No, he's a damn good actor.
Tom Cruise has done some good. You know what they bash on him because he's a Scientologist and he jumped up and down on the couch a long time ago.
Yeah, no, but a long time ago. When I was in college, I said something about a Tom Cruise movie, and my buddy said something, and I was like, "You don't like Tom Cruise?" He goes, "No, I don't like Tom Cruise." I said, "Why don't you like Tom Cruise?" He goes, "He's always got to be the best in all his movies. He's got to be the best race car driver, the best pool player."
But isn't that the point of the movie? Isn't that the point of being the hero? No. You got to be the best at something.
No, but if you look at it,
not really,
he is the best. Like other people, they're great. but it's never really put out there that they are the best. You know what I mean?
Oh, wait a minute,
a lot
wait
of
a
ones
minute.
are.
Every action movie you ever think about, it's like it's always the one guy who can do the job that needs to be done.
Exactly,
in
but
that
they take
particular
a
movie.
beating getting there kind of thing, and he's got to be the best. You know what I mean? Like Jack Reacher. He took Jack Reacher. My family is a big Jack Reacher fans. They read all the thing. I couldn't get through the first book. I hated it because he was so good at everything.
But I agree. But I think there's two Tom Cruises. There's the, when he was starting off, he wasn't the best at everything. But I agree with you. His last few movies, he does do that. But he's such a good actor. I don't mind that at all.
Yeah, I think he's a good actor.
But Patrick, what you were saying earlier about all stories have been told and retold, that is true. I mean, what? I think Shakespeare said there's only like 11 plots to every story, every told.
I think there's like 37 plots that can cover everything that's ever been done.
Yeah, so, I mean, the key to doing anything is putting a new twist on it.
I mean, look at
either with more
Samurai.
interesting characters or something else. So I don't mind, there's a lot of, but there's a lot of stuff, that's well done that bombs, and there's a lot of stuff that's crap that succeeds.
Exactly. I don't mind James Cameron taking another shot.
See, I do. I just think that shows to me that he's just falling back on something familiar.
No,
that's just like
that's just your personal.
Might have waved a lot of money in front of his face. I mean, because since they started
wave a lot of money in front of his face. Wait a minute, hold on. You just said wave a lot of money in front of his face. He doesn't need to work ever again. His grandchildren don't need to work ever again.
When you're making minimum wage, somebody giving you $100 is a lot. When you're a millionaire, you want to be a billionaire.
Oh, of course, but I don't think he's doing it for the money. I don't know what it is.
I don't think so either, because look at how infrequently his movies come out. He takes his sweet time to do a movie. He does it when he feels like doing it.
Exactly, but it just feels like a step back.
How much money did he blow on that Titanic thing, where he actually made that undersea sub to go see the Titanic?
Exactly, but to me it just seems like Cameron's taking a step back. I mean, is he supposed to? He said he was going to do 9 Avatars sequels,
but like the
and then all of a sudden he announces, "Oh, I'm going to do the Terminator."
When did the Terminator come out? 83, 84, 85?
What was Terminator?
When did the Terminator come out?
83
or 84?
Yeah,
something like that.
That's a long time ago, guy.
It's only 30 years. You make it sound like it's a fucking eternity.
It's a lifetime.
What was that 30 years ago?
If you got cancer, it's a lifetime. It's just like, come on, really, you guys are excited. That just seems like again to me. That just seems like something safe and lazy and unambitious.
I think it's the opposite of safe, because if he fucks it up,
whatever he has planned to do. What was that, Pete? I'm sorry.
I said I think it's anything but safe to go and reboot a beloved movie, because if he fucks it up, he's gonna wreck his rep, and people are gonna shit all over him. So he's actually taking a big chance at dipping back into the Terminator.
But even if the movie sucks, he doesn't care about his rep. He made his rep with Titanic and Avatar and Terminator.
How can you say that?
If this movie bombs, which it never will, this movie will not bomb. There's barely any blockbusters that bomb anymore. If it bombs, what
I don't know. I think there was a movie last year that bombed. It was called Terminator something or other, and then there was
but that wasn't a Cameron film.
There was another movie that
I think that movie still made
was in it. Christian Bale and who was the other guy?
Salvation?
For that bomb.
That didn't bomb. Salvation didn't bomb because they made Genesis afterwards. If it bombed, they would have ended the franchise. When it bombs, you stop the franchise. They keep the franchise going because of the brand
just like
name.
in football, everybody thinks they can fix everybody's problems.
Mm-hmm.
But no, this is a brand that they keep going because it is profitable.
Right, because it's still such a brand. It's still like, just like Star Wars.
Right, so Cameron going back to that shows that, to me, that's safe and lazy.
No,
by going back to a brand that is still going.
For our year,
lazy at all. It's the opposite.
No, it's not.
My nephews that are in their 20s and teens, they don't have that connection. They're not going to run out and see it first day.
Exactly. He's trying to bring it to a new generation, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No, yes, it is. It's not. You're not bringing a new thing to a new generation. You're falling back on a guaranteed hit, on something that was a guaranteed hit. You're falling back on something.
He's trying to update the franchise for a new generation of fans. What's wrong with that?
Because
Or he's trying to
you're taking
show people how to make
an
a
old
Terminator.
idea. You're taking an idea that made you famous, an old idea, and going back to it instead of doing something new, instead of doing something original.
As much as I like the
remember-
TV series, it wasn't a big hit, and the last 2 movies weren't a big hit. The franchise has a bad smell on it now.
And to add to that,
But no, the
Wait.
studios aren't going to end the franchise. But he doesn't need to go back to it. Him going back to it says what? It's not. He's not taking a chance.
I don't know him. I don't fucking know
taking
him.
a chance on what?
Maybe he's just like, what's going on with my franchise?
If Cameron wanted to take a chance,
I want to make
he should
something.
adapt a
Hold
Larry
it.
Niven novel. That's
Take a
taking a
breath.
chance.
Take a breath. In one of the last movies, whether it was Salvation or Genesis, Cameron went on record as saying how displeased he was with the direction of the series, if I remember correctly. So this could be his way of saying, you know what, you guys fucked up my franchise. I want to fucking restart it and do what I couldn't do, whatever he couldn't do back then, he wants to do now and put the thing back on track and get a good franchise going again. It could be that.
It's not his
Sure it
franchise.
is.
No, it isn't. It's the studio's franchise. He was a work for hire when he did that. He doesn't own Terminator. He doesn't own that stuff. The studio does. So
The
it's not his
narrative.
franchise.
The narrative.
The narrative is not even his. I mean,
All right. James Cameron has nothing to do with Terminator. Okay,
well,
you win.
well, if you remember, Harlan Ellison sued him.
Yeah.
Because the
And,
story was based on, but he credited Ellison for
yes, exactly. So you could kind of say it's Harlan Ellison's story if you want.
But
no,
it was
to me-
Ellison. But
to me-
it was always Ellison's short story that inspired the idea for the movie, and Ellison's name was always in the credits, if I'm not mistaken.
No, it
even when first
wasn't.
came out.
No, Ellison had to sue and got his name added after the movie came out. It was on all the VHS releases and the re-releases. The original release did not credit Harlan Ellison. That's why he sued. So he went batshit when he saw the movie and went, "Hey, this is based on my short story," and he wasn't credited or paid for it. So that's that's why he sued.
I love Harlan Ellison because he's just been angry since he was born.
Exactly. I think that's a Napoleon complex too. But
Yeah,
Is that your favorite author guy?
one of
That's
my
gotta be-
favorites. I really read a lot of Ellison growing up, and I'm starting to reread his
I
stuff
meant the
now.
anger part.
the eternal hatred, because Ellison is still mad about that Star Trek episode.
I know. But
Well,
what I
what's
want to
he
say
mad
is,
about?
if Cameron wanted to take a real chance, he should adapt an obscure sci-fi novel that has fallen out of favor, or even a Larry Niven novel like Ringworld, or a Joe Haldeman, The Forever War, and do that and make that a success instead of going
Maybe he
back.
I think
doesn't
a lot
like
of
those.
Highlander is public domain now.
What is?
Maybe he thinks those books
lot of
suck. He
Highlander
doesn't
books
want
are
to do
public
those
domain.
books. That's why he did Avatar. Maybe
Well, I think,
he did do his own thing. He did Avatar, and people gave him shit for that, but it was still a fucking amazing looking movie.
And it was still a big hit. It's
It's
yeah.
I mean, it's the guy
It's the
pushes
biggest-
the envelope every time he gets behind the camera. He does something that pushes the entire film industry forward.
Exactly. That's why I'm looking forward to what he does next. But I just think that falling back on what he's got him famous is just a little bit.
I don't
Yeah.
see it as that. I see it as like he's got some new. Maybe he. I'm just gonna. We're speculating, obviously.
Yeah.
I feel like he has some new ideas, or he wants to really pump some new stuff into Terminator, and simultaneously bring it to a new audience. And hopefully he doesn't do what Lucas did with the prequels, which is like, new, or not the prequels, when Lucas started noodling with the original trilogy and adding in shit that he claims he always wanted to put in and he couldn't because the technology wasn't there. And he just did nothing for the original trilogy but make it kind of whack. The moving Han Solo's head with CG so that the... Wait, whose head was it? Was it Greedo or no? It was Solo, right? He just moves his head and a laser blaster misses him.
I
And
haven't seen the more edited versions.
Yeah, and adding in those CG creatures on Tatooine that just kind of walk in front of the screen, and adding in a CG Java, and it's just like it really didn't do anything for the story. It didn't do anything for the universe. So,
Right. But see, Lucas owned that. Lucas owned Star Wars. It was all done under Lucasfilm. While Cameron was basically really a work for hire, putting out Terminator.
Movie?
What?
Wasn't
Which
Empire
one?
Strike Back and Return of the Jedi both studio movies?
But I mean, Lucas created that whole universe. He owned.
Yeah, absolutely.
He owns stuff. That's what I'm saying. Someone like Cameron was maybe a work for hire to do the Terminator.
I think we got to look. I think that has to be looked up because
if he loved that franchise so much, like the way Lucas and Spielberg stick throughout the Indiana Jones franchise, because they created it and they may have owned it and they work on it, but Cameron left. After 2 movies to move on.
Yeah, writing.
And
James
now going
Cameron has
back,
writing credit
it's not
for
like
that.
he stuck out the whole franchise through Salvation and Genesis. So now him going back, to me, it seems like,
yeah, but he just Patrick said Cameron is the writer.
What?
Yeah, Cameron has
the
a
writer.
writing credit on Terminator, director and writer. That's a pretty good input into that.
You could even check the credits and see if he's on. He's got to be an executive producer as well.
Oh, absolutely.
Not on the first one.
Yeah,
I bet on the sequel, definitely, because that was all his. It was.
Yeah, and again,
that's
the Terminator 2, Terminator 1 and 2 push movies forward.
Exactly.
His Aliens 2 push movies forward.
Exactly.
Avatar push movies forward.
Titanic
Even
You know
the
what I was
Abyss.
thinking? I'm going to bring this up, Zelda Nerds.
But Pete, that's exactly what I'm saying. Every time he pushed technology forward for a movie, it was an original story. But
that had nothing to do with the narrative.
Or one and done. Now he seems to be going back.
He went back for Terminator 2.
Well, that was a continuation of his story. But he didn't stick with it. He didn't create a whole franchise out of it. He did 2 and then he left. He did one Titanic,
Rocky
he did one
was the only
Avatar.
guy that did that.
What?
At the time, Rocky was the only guy that did that.
Stallone?
No.
Right, he wasn't a producer.
There was Raiders, there was Indiana Jones, there was Star Wars, there was Rocky.
Yeah, but I think
there was Back to the Future. There was the Back to the Future trilogy too. You know what I'm saying? So it's like Cameron did his story in 2 parts.
Yeah, the producing credits for Terminator: John Daly, Derek Gibson, and Gail Ann Hurd, who was also on the writer credits. And I wouldn't be surprised if that's his wife.
I don't know. I think when he did Terminator or Terminator 2, he was married to, what's her name, Catherine Bigelow?
Catherine Bigelow, yeah.
I know they've been divorced for a while, but
they stayed cool because he worked, if I'm not mistaken, I think he helped her on Strange Days, which was one of my favorites.
Yeah, and that was what, 95, 96 was Strange Days?
I think 95 or 99, I forget.
The Terminator, Aliens, and the Abyss.
Who's that other woman you mentioned?
Yeah, Gail Ann Hurd.
Okay, and Cameron's not a producer on that?
No, he's not a producer on Terminator. But you can bet it. And she was married to James Cameron. Thank you very much. She was and no else. She married to Brian De Palma. Holy crap, man! She goes through her directors.
She knows how to. She picks them. She knows how to pick them.
So Cameron was a producer on the first Terminator, but he wrote and directed it, which means he was still a work for hire in that regard.
But narratively, it's him.
Yes,
he's the person everybody associates with it. Nobody's going to say, "Oh, that's a Sony picture."
Exactly. I totally agree.
Except for Buddy Green.
Right.
I totally agree.
When you say Terminator, people think of 2 names.
Absolutely.
Schwarzenegger and Cameron, yes. Oh, yes, I totally agree with you. But like I said, it's not like he kept doing it and kept evolving technology through that series.
Yeah, he was a producer on Terminator 2.
Oh, yeah.
And he was a producer on Point Break. Johnny Utah, thank you very much. Thank you, James Cameron.
That was a fun. That is a fun movie. The sequel,
to this day, I have not seen Point Break.
The remake was terrible.
Maybe that's why he has no joy in his heart, Pete.
Yeah, because he never saw Point Break. That's why Gary Geddes
just
died.
The trailers looked like it was a piece of shit.
And Keanu Reeves for a new generation.
Keanu Reeves and that, what's his name, the Roadhouse idiot making a bad movie.
Gary Busey. Oh,
no,
Patrick Swayze.
Patrick Swayze, yes. Just that looks so bad.
And they remade it for another generation. And right now, there's like a 14-year-old Pat and Pete in their home, memorizing all the dialogue. And there's a little 14-year-old Gary who's.
But what I'm saying is that the original people who worked on the first one, the original people did not work on the sequel. So it wasn't like theirs. And besides, didn't the sequel, whatever the remake, bomb? Like, I don't know anyone who saw it.
It was really terrible. It was really terrible.
It came and went in like 2 weeks in theaters. It was, Jesus.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of promo stuff for that at all either.
It's just like, wow, you figured with
I don't even know who was in that. Were there any stars in that?
I don't remember.
No one that I knew.
But that's amazing how, like, no one who loved the original went to go see that reboot. It's just like 30 years of watching it, and no one wants to go see the reboot.
Do you still surf?
Do I still surf? No, I don't surf anymore. After I
say every day.
I had an incident.
You ruined it.
Oh Christ! I gotta hear fucking Point Break quotes.
The Point Break remake, by the way, it didn't make 30 million domestic, and worldwide it did like 133 with
amazing.
like $108 million budget. So
it's
not too
a
good.
Bad idea because like extreme sports weren't a big thing when they made Point Break, the original.
Right.
And now, forget it. They're just everywhere.
Yeah, I picked that in my movie league. I'm part of a movie league where you predict the box office for, the top 10 movies of the week. And I picked that as, like, the number one movie when it came out. And it was like...
What's that like? Is that like fantasy football?
Yeah. It's more... Yeah, it's like fantasy
Yeah, how
football.
bad did you get crushed on that one?
Oof. I think I came in 6 out of 7 people, that week.